Hi, my name is Joe Jackson. I'm a journalist, author, interviewer, and broadcaster who's interviewed over a 30-year period roughly 1,400 world-famous celebrities for nearly all major media outlets in Ireland. The best of these usually highly intimate conversations make up my podcast series, The Joe Jackson Interviews. You can subscribe on any major podcast server or YouTube. What follows is one of the podcasts I like to call a single because it lasts less than 5 minutes. It came about because when I was putting together the latest of 3 podcasts based on an interview I did with Neil Diamond in 2001, I realised that one particular section, the man's memory of a near-death experience in 1979, could not only stand on its own but also, hopefully, pass on to people lessons they might apply to their lives or even their thoughts or fears about death. By the way, if you want to read the article I wrote based on my 3 interviews with Neil Diamond, check out my website, joejacksoninterviewer.com. Did you also, around 1979, didn't you go through some kind of operation where you wrote goodbye notes and said goodbye to the people you loved, and you were afraid, this is it for me too, I'm going?
Yes. I had very unusual symptoms for a year and a half of losing sensation, first starting at the soles of my feet and working my way up my leg and into my back. And after about a year and a half of having doctors tell me that it was imaginary and it was not important, I went to a very serious doctor, and he said, we're putting you in the hospital and we're going to give you some serious checks. And they gave me a spinal tap and put dye in my spinal cord and tested me and found that I had a monstrous tumor in my spinal column. I looked at the X-ray, and there was my spinal cord going down, and suddenly like a lemon in there, crushing it against the side of the bone, and which was causing paralysis and an inability to walk and all kinds of physical disabilities. And so he said, we're going to operate immediately. And they got the best neurosurgeon in Los Angeles. It was microsurgery. And it was particularly difficult because it wasn't growing on top of the spinal cord. It was growing from inside the spinal cord. And it was a long and difficult surgery. The doctor, halfway through, called in another surgeon because he didn't want to take responsibility for putting me in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. So the 2 of them worked for about 12 hours and got it out.
Right.
But I didn't know whether I'd live or die or what was going on, really. You don't know. It was in a very delicate place. So I did write my last letters to my kids. It was something that I felt that I had to do. It was a responsibility that I had to all 4 of them. And, I told them how much I loved them and how important they were to me. And I didn't know what was going to happen with this surgery. I didn't want to die, but it wasn't up to me. And don't be angry if it happens. Okay. I want you to go on and live your lives and be productive and, just relish the time that we had together and all the things you want to tell your kids when you think you're going. And, I didn't know. I thought that maybe this would be it. But thankfully and joyfully, they were able to remove it. I still have some symptoms, but, I'm able to walk, which is a great joy to me. I would have been happy just to have lived and, even in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. But I'm able to walk and perform and do all the things that I did before, although I'm in pain a lot. It's never brought me down. It's never gotten me down because here I am. I'm alive. Okay. I'm writing music. I've lived to see my kids grow up and have their own children, and there's no greater joy.
I would like to play out of that story because I think I see Elijah's song as kind of a continuation of those notes you wrote.
Yeah, I think it's another extension of me giving them advice and wishing them well and expressing my love.
Hi, Joe Jackson here again. I thank you for listening to this edition of the Joe Jackson Interviews podcast. And don't forget, if you want to read any of my Neil Diamond articles, check out my website, joejacksoninterviewer.com. Neil's story is also told in my anthology of inspirational interviews, From Darkness to Light, which is available as an ebook from all ebook outlets.